Hey, Shalom, Kol Halah, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, Bashim Rachakodash, the ones to the apostles of great millstone that rule well, and Shalom to you brothers and highways and byways doing the work sincerely and faithfully and continually fighting the good fight of faith. Lord willing, we have found that number to be delivered as the hopeful elect, and likewise for some of you sisters who truly trust and believe in the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, may you be found worthy as well in your households. All right, so this is a quick article that came through Yahoo News this afternoon rather, dated March 3rd, 2022, 1 p.m. And it states, Zelensky, the end of the world has arrived. And how right he is. All right? The end of the world has arrived. And we understand and know that it's the end of Esau's world and his power structure. All right? Now, it may be coming at a dire time for this nation, Ukraine, but at the same time, it's the sentiment that's going throughout the whole world. And they understand and they feel it. You know, you don't have to be in the midst of bombs and rockets going off to get a sense that it's the end of your rulership. It's the end of your world. Okay? Now, Zelensky was making a plea for help because Russia is blasting him with rockets, mortars, and missiles. Okay? And I'm going to read a little bit of the article here, and it says, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Thursday issued a dire appeal for help as Russia's attacks across the country intensified. Quote, the end of the world has arrived, Zelensky said during a televised news conference in Kyiv. He pleaded to the Western leaders who have resisted calls to set up a no-fly zone over Ukraine. Okay? See? They resisted calls. So they weren't taking your calls as this man's asking to set up a no-fly zone. And he says, quote, if you do not have the power to cross the skies, then give me planes, Zelensky said. I'm sorry. If you don't have the power to close the skies, then give me planes, Zelensky said. All right? Now, it's not a matter of not do they have the power. They don't want to close the skies. You see? Now, we're going to get a couple scriptures in a few, but at the end of the day, man, this thing is being set up for a reason. Okay? Let me also continue on. It said the Ukrainian leader also called for direct negotiations with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Okay? Now, at the beginning of this thing, you was gung-ho about defending your nation, about how ready you were, and your people are ready to fight. You know, Russia got a big hand, man. They got a big hand. They got a big grip. And now you're starting to feel that strength of that hand and that fist come down upon you. Quote, good Lord, what do you want? Leave our land. If you don't want to leave now, sit down with me at the negotiation table. Okay? You know, now he's singing a whole different tune. Okay? He's singing a whole different tune because he knows the strength and the power that Russia possesses. It's just a matter of time before they ultimately wipe Ukraine off the map, man. You see? And then you got the so-called American people who are all up in arms because Russia is doing what they're doing. But you got to keep in mind, and we understand and know that at the end of the day, they're all Edomites. Okay? They are all Edomites, and they're going to do exactly what they love to do, and that's kill. This is Isaiah 19:2, and it says, I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. You know, right? And you can equate that to say he's going to set the Edomites against the Edomites. And this is exactly what's happening right now. Just because they call themselves by, a different title or different land title, at the end of the day, they're all the seed of Edom. Esau, Edom. And it says, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. All right? Because ultimately what's going to happen? It's going to be the Russian Edomites against the American Edomites. All right? So that's the course we're on for this third world war, man. And people are going to choose sides with these Edomites, whatever nation they may be. All right, and a lot of them are going to fall according to the scriptures. They're going to be thrust through. All right, so we understand that the things that are going on over there, it's Edom against Edom, man. Doesn't have no. We don't have no, no dog in this fight, if you will. Where we're sitting there, protesting and why are they doing? No. Bring it on. The more, the merrier. It's just bringing us that much more closer to World War III. And Vladimir Putin said it, man. If anybody interferes with their campaign, they're going to feel and have a type of pain that they've never ever felt before, roughly paraphrasing. And that was only to what? To the people of America, the American powers, man. He wasn't really directing that to any other nation because there's no other nation that's strong enough to deal with Russia. Okay? 2 Ezra 6 and 9. It says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." All right? So little by little, these Edomites are understanding that their power and their position in this world is slowly fading out, man. It's slowly fading. In the nation of Israel, primarily the hopeful elect is on the rise. Our spirits are being lifted up, even though we still got, some trials and tribulations ahead of us. But our spirits are being lifted up because we're now starting to see the enemy of the nation go down. All right? This whole military / government it's in shambles over here, man. Absolute shambles. So we're not in shock and awe. We're not, in favor of, any of this crap. We're in favor of the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushai being fulfilled, and this nation going down, this country going down, all these other nations being under our subjection. All right? This is, matter of fact, let me go here first. Let me go here. This is Matthew 24. And I'm gonna start at verse 3. I'll start at 2. It says, "And Yahushua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as they sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming in the end of the world?" All right? So we're talking about now the end of Esau's world and the nation of Israel being put back in place. All right? These are the things that they were inquiring of. So the term, the end of the world, and the slogan of the end of the world, this is not a new concept, man. This thing has been spoken for many years. And it's funny because you don't hear it much more in this time period. You don't hear it that much in this time period. You don't hear these pastors and preachers talking about the end of the world. A lot of them have no idea what it truly means, but you don't hear them talking about it whatsoever. But it's something that's prominent and very important in the scriptures, because in the last days, when the Lord came on the scene, this is when the end of the world started, man, for Esau, Edom. All right? But they'll tell you a whole different story. They asked him, it says, "Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming in the end of the world?" All right? Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, I'll read it verbatim, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. Right, because right now, you got a lot of people in the world right now who are troubled. And they're seriously troubled right now for what's going on over there in Ukraine. But we of the hope for the elect lay back, watch it unfold, prophesy about it, and understand that this ain't the end, man. This ain't the end. There's still more war to come. All right? See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Okay? So your boy said the end of the world. Let's get it again here. What did he say here? He said the end of the world has arrived. It has arrived, but it's not yet hit. It's not yet ready. All right. So from there, let's jump here then. This is Habakkuk 2:1. It says, I will answer. I'm Shlakia. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he shall say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Right, write the vision. What's the vision? At the end of this thing, the vision is the destruction of Babylon the Great, man. That's the end vision, is the destruction of Babylon the Great, and the nation of Israel being put back in its proper place. Verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. Right. He said the end of the world has arrived. All right. The vision is yet for an appointed time. There's still prophecies that got to come to pass before Babylon the Great gets destroyed. Okay. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end, there's that word end again, it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it shall surely come, it will not tarry. Okay? So that time is coming, man. The end time is set for an appropriate time. All right? And these are the things that we meditate on. You know, standing upon the watch, watching, reading, you know, understanding, measuring the times. All right? The visions that are being seen or spoken of. Knowing that is an appointed time. These are all the things that we're well aware of. Therefore, we keep ourselves in the right state of mind, you know, meditating on these prophecies, but also being patient and waiting upon the Lord, man. And a lot of you suckers, you jokers out there, you truly aren't in tune with the scriptures and the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You're truly not in tune, man. A lot of you jokers out there don't even come close to, you know, speaking about the prophecies of the end. You know, speaking and screaming from the rooftops that you're an Israelite is good enough for you. That's how it seems. You ain't out there in the trenches. You ain't putting yourselves out there, you know, as a living sacrifice through the Spirit. But you're so gladly to gather the masses to have a picnic or some type of, you know, family reunion, so to say, bringing all the tribes back together for the world's greatest picnic. It's bullshit, man. We ain't in the time of mirth. We're in the time of trouble, man. We're in the time of Jacob's trouble, which is on the horizon. I don't see how anybody can be out there, you know, wanting to be so joyous and so, you know, jubil, when there's still a battle before us. Okay? So that vision is yet for an appointed time. Esau loves to talk about, you know, this many years down the road, this many years we're gonna put this in place. This shit is we at the end of this thing, man. This shit is ready to go. She's ready to go. Okay. Now, let me see. Let me see if I finished off here. Many shall come in my name. Right. So going back to verse 6, it says, "Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled." Right. We of the hope for the elect, we're not troubled at what's taking place right now. This is just a blip in the radar. Now it may very well be that, let me see. It may very well be that these two individuals may come to some type of negotiation. Okay? It says here, Ukrainian leader also called for direct negotiations with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Good Lord, what do you want? Leave our land. If you don't want to leave now, sit down with me at the negotiation table. So I believe there's going to be some type of negotiation going on. All right? Knowing that, the Third World War and the war that's going to end all wars is going to be the war, between Russia and America. That's going to be the big dance. That's the big dance right there. And then the devil's going to try to turn and fight the Lord. All right? So we're not troubled, man. We're not troubled at the things that are coming, man, down the pipe, so to say. And then I had this quick article. It says Russia faces war crimes accusations as civilians casualties grow. All right. Now, it's interesting how this place can go around and drop bombs on all nations of the world and nobody have a damn word to say about shit. Like I said last week, they had a march out here in down in the government center, and all they was talking about and all the signs are saying these baby killers and killing women and children, this, that, and the third. This is what war has become, man. This is what war has become. There's no thought for life as one would think of war being out in a field somewhere, different troops, flanking one another out in the field, and the loser starting to flee because he's taking heavy damage. These wars have now been brought to your door. All right? They're showing on the news that, there's schools being bombed and hospitals being bombed. This is what war has become. There is no mercy in a merciless person. Okay? A little bit of this says, as the Russian military has suffered unexpected setbacks in its wars of Ukraine, the invading forces have increasingly hit civilian sites with airstrikes. Okay? On the 6th day of the Russian assault, at least 5 people were killed in the capital of Kyiv when the television tower near the site of Babi Yar Holocaust Memorial was targeted. At least 10 people were killed when the rocket exploded in front of an administration building located in central Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city. Hospitals, schools, apartment buildings have been destroyed by bombardment. I can't really see too well here. That shows no sign of letting up. All right. So going back to the fact that, these civilians and these schools, now it only matters now that Russia has been doing it. Now the whole world is up in arms. Okay. So now they want Russia to face war crime charges. I don't know what this devil's saying. Let me see.
І можливості, і допомогу вони також мене не чули. Я їм говорив, що Україна буде боротися, ви побачите.
I just got the subtitles down there, but we ain't gonna get into all that. All right. So let me go here. So I typed in how many civilian casualties in the Afghanistan war. All right. And here's the answer that was given. It says civilian casualties in Afghanistan, however, were extraordinarily high. An estimated 75,000 Afghan military and police officers perished in direct war deaths, and an additional estimate of 71,334 civilians died directly because of war. All right? Now, should not America be charged with a war crime? And these are the numbers that they give you. Who knows? It's probably a hell of a lot more than that. Civilians consisting of women and children, because that's the only, category that they want to focus on when it comes to civilians, women and children. All right. So 71,000 plus people as civilians have perished in the Afghan war. All right. And the majority of those people who perished were probably put to death by American, military. And I believe that to be a very low number anyway. But all that being said, should not this place be also charged with a war crime? See, whenever America does it, there's no problem. Because when America does it, other nationalities' lives are no matter. It doesn't matter what their life is or who they are, because they're not American. But let some other nation, such as Russia, do something to the Ukrainians. And these devils had the audacity to get on the news. Damn, I don't know if I can find that. Let me see if I can find that. All right, let me see if this is it. All right, so you had these devils talking about, the people who these are the news people who they see dying, blonde-haired and blue-eyed people. It says Western media likes its refugees blonde and blue-eyed. Let me see what this says here. Let me see if this is it.
Opinion: Western media likes its refugees blonde and blue-eyed. The West is embracing Ukrainian refugees and opening its doors to them. And rightly so. From its perspective, they are white and have light hair and eyes, so there's no reason to be frightened of them. That wasn't how it acted not so long ago when Syrian, Afghani, and Iraqi refugees, those uncontrolled, uncivilized people, were knocking on its doors. Let's pause for a moment on the racist statements toward Middle Eastern refugees that Western journalists have made without a drop of sensitivity or compassion. For instance, a CBS reporter described what was happening in Ukraine with great sadness. This isn't a place, with all due respect, like Iraq or Afghanistan, that has seen conflict raging for decades, he said. This is a relatively civilized, relatively European city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen. The civilized Europeans are the first world, and war isn't supposed to happen on European soil, as if that soil weren't drenched in the blood of thousands of years of war between tribes, religions, and countries. More generally, war and occupation are evil, ugly things that belong in the cursed countries of the Middle East, like Syria and Lebanon. The racist, colonialist language is patent. Even when covering war, there are good refugees and bad ones. This is the story they tell the world, and once again, we're seeing reporters and media outlets act as spokespeople for white supremacy and moral double standards. Where were all these reporters when Russia invaded Syria with the consent of its war criminal president, Bashar Assad, who massacred his own people with help from Russian President Vladimir Putin? Western compassion for the Ukrainian refugees is hip.
All right, so that's the gist on that. All right, because they had not allowed a lot of so-called black people or dark-skinned people to cross out of the land. All right, but if you was blonde hair and blue-eyed, all right. But once again, this is what's happening. This is the land and the time period that we're living in, where these devils are now really shaking in their boots. All right, and trying to preserve that, because they're doing the same thing that they accused Hitler of doing. All right. But everybody should back them. Everybody should go run to their aid and run to bring, food and water and help and refugees being sent though, here in this area. The state of Rhode Island said they're ready to open their doors to the refugees, sending planes over there and bringing them back over here. This is some real bullshit, man. And this is why this place got to go. This is why this place has to go. All right. All right. So I'm not going to run too much more on it. Let me see what we got here. Let me see. Spoke on Habakkuk. That's it. Yeah. So that's just about it. So Lord willing, brothers edified. And I'll see you on another show. I say shalom.